Stay connected. Make sure you hit the subscribe button.
Minutes from the last meeting. And subsequent approval. If you don't have any issues. I didn't know anything myself.
I did not notice anything. So I will make a motion.
Those will second. And so accepted. And we're going to a review of the bills. You have a report one, but that's the training report, so the bills are actually report two.
Nothing really jumps out at me unless it does. You have questions on any of the expenditures.
Chief, on the cameras, the watch guard video,
Right.
is that new cameras or is that payment for existing cameras?
We bought 3 new cameras.
That's right.
We utilized the money from the vehicles that, the police vehicle we couldn't buy. We had some outdated digital ally cameras. That system is no longer supported, so we eliminated that system. Anything else jump out at you?
No, except for I like the name Double Dog.
I was just gonna say that. You got a stash of that downstairs, or should we do?
If there's no further questions, we have a motion to accept.
Those are new sites for our new guns coming in for our office.
That's what I figured. Second.
All right. And we'll start with the reports. We'll start with report one. Training taking place.
You might have addressed this before, but can you remind me, the reason for the highlighted ones?
I don't think they've been changed. The highlighting was supposed to be the new ones.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
what I was
and they just
gonna
haven't
ask.
come up with
Yeah.
it. Yeah. I noticed that this morning. The highlights are supposed to be the new ones that they've done for this month, but it looks like they've left the old ones. I do note there's a couple officers that are lagging behind in their mandated NYMER videos, so we will get on them and make sure that's corrected in September.
I did notice that a couple of the officers who were working most of the overtime work. Not doing as much of the training, but that's understandable.
Is there, self-initiated training available
Yep, some,
through your, okay.
if they come and they want it, we'll send them.
I just didn't know if there was a fee attached every time they request, or like, you know how we used to have the briefing videos. Is there like anything that's free, that's self-initiating that they can access?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of online stuff. I even have some trainings on here I did this week that just aren't on here yet. Online webinars that officers are able to do.
Great, thank you.
Any further questions on the training schedule?
On the training front, this is new, but we just got notice that there's some people that may be feeling a little ill at the academy, so they're mandating testing for everybody and keeping them all, sending them all home till the tests come back 24 hours. So, but the good part is that they're in the downward swing, so they can accomplish their training and not have a setback.
Do you have copies of vaccination cards for those that are vaccinated?
No. But we have a list of everybody vaccinated because last year when vaccinations became available for our agency, for our profession, I set up all the vaccinations. We had been proactive. We'd gotten a list of everybody that wanted a vaccination. We'd scheduled with Family Health Network, and in 3 days, everybody that wanted a vaccination got vaccination. And it was actually a little quicker because we had also talked to Guthrie, and Guthrie was doing clinics, and they would call us in the middle of the night and say, hey, we've got like 4 doses we gotta use. So we'd send up people off the list. And so it was very rapid, so we know everybody. And then the second wave and the third wave that came along, when people wanted vaccinations, they decided, okay, we've changed our mind, we want one. We set those up as well. So we have a very comprehensive list of who is vaccinated and who's not.
It's perfectly legal to take copies of vaccination cards, keep them on file, and everybody's, can't keep them in personal files, you should keep them in a separate file.
A medical file.
Yeah, and it's perfectly legal to ask someone for a copy, an employee for a copy of the vaccination card. It's not a bad idea to keep a copy of that.
Has Guthrie reached out to the department about boosters?
No. We reached out to Family Health Network and the County Health Department a few weeks ago to check on boosters, and at that point, it was all up in the air whether anybody was going to get a booster, if it was necessary, boom, boom, boom. Now it's ramping up a little more, and they said they would keep us apprised that when boosters were available. So we will get a list of who wants their booster shots.
Anything else on training or vaccinations? We'll move on to report 3. It's the budget report.
You'll notice a couple of red areas where finance had kind of misplaced money from one budget line to another. Tracy and I discussed them, and they've gotten corrected. You'll notice our maintenance line is still way down, so we may be suspending, and that's the one where we had to move 10,000 from gas to maintenance. We may have to suspend routine maintenance again, like in October, like we have the past couple of years. They just do not understand. Oh, sorry about that, guys. They do not understand that by eliminating cars, what you do to these vehicles, so.
And the federal grant, what was that one for? 44389?
44389.
3120.
That's something through MAC. That had nothing to do with us. I think that had to do with money coming in from the COVID relief. And he gave us some money out of there. Because what we all had to do was submit impacts from COVID, and then they applied for a city grant from the feds, and then they divvied it up based upon what your losses were. That's why you'll see a negative and a positive. Because it's just money that we spent. We are starting to gear up more on our cleaning supplies again for the vehicles and stuff, to make sure that we stay ahead of the curve.
Okay, any further questions on the budget report?
I just want to say this is the first time that you guys have noticed the finance errors, so good job.
Thank you.
I'm sure it's not the first time they've been on here,
No?
but first time they've been highlighted for us, so good job.
We'll move on to
Tracy was good steel. Okay, David?
Acquisition.
Acquisition, yes.
Vehicles, it's kind of a slow month for maintenance, and last couple of months, we've had issues with brakes. I think car 16, you'll see a expenditure on there, pretty hefty one. Had an issue, it's a K9 vehicle, had an issue with the door popper for the K9. When it reaches a certain temperature, the windows are supposed to go down, air conditioning turn on, and the door is unlocked so the dog can get out. There was a malfunction with that. The company who manufactured it's no longer in business, so we had to take that to Push Electronics. Had to do a lot of troubleshooting to get that working up and then once again. Another bigger one, I think was 14. I had an issue with car radio. The car radio itself stopped working, which isn't a major thing if they can't listen to the radio, but that also runs the reverse camera, the sound for the turn signals, and all that other stuff. So they had the radio replaced in that. So all those other features would work.
But part of that was, we had to go to Bush, tear out all the aftermarket components, take it back to Royal so Royal could remove the dash, replace the radio, and then go back to Bush and put all that stuff back in.
Right. So we're double hit on that for maintenance, or for
How about 27?
That significant change. So I know I had a flat tire during the month, but that wouldn't be.
1200.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't be close to it.
No.
I don't recall what it was. Typical majority of that.
That wasn't the AC condenser, was it?
Yes, it was. Yes. Yep. Air conditioning. Okay. No problem with them.
All set with report 4. And we should go to report 5, sick time comparison, overtime, workers' comp.
Nothing unusual with the overtime. You'll see our top 3 are the same that are always the top 3. This year, they're the top 3. They're always in there. What's notable is a lot of the younger guys with 3 years and less are picking up a lot of overtime, which is nice. Some of our older guys are picking up far more than they used to. And still a few senior officers that I'd like to see pick up some more, help out with the staffing, but we're getting a nice split amongst them. Sick time use doesn't look too bad. Bless you. We do have one individual that's out. He's recovering from COVID. He discovered it early, so nobody else was affected. And we're looking into the COVID time. It was the mayor, Max, councils, it was everybody's belief that COVID time had expired with the executive orders and so forth. But apparently there's a state COVID time, but there's more restrictions on it. You have to have a note, I believe you have to have a note from a doctor that you have COVID, or you have to have an order from the health department to isolate in order to get it. Yeah, in order to get that. Last year it was more of a if you're not feeling good, we'll give you COVID time kind of thing, but, and that's not the same this year. So we're looking into it. Kind of caught us off guard, but there's nothing that can't be corrected.
Any further discussion? Sick time, count ten. Move on to report 6, overtime accumulation.
You'll notice we're down in all the top areas. With cops, obviously, we're down a little bit, but investigative reports, call-ins, detectives are way down. You'll see small increases, nothing major with the courts as the courts open back up. That's because in 2020, COVID was knocked us out of the courts, so there's all zeros. The most notable is short shift. You look at those numbers, they are just astronomical, and they will continue for the rest, probably till October. Our recruits come back probably September or late October.
September. One, if they come back for on-the-job training, and they come back officially November 1st.
Right. But while they're doing on-the-job training, they will count. So that'll be 4 holes that get filled, which will cut back on staffing issues, but. And this being the July report, we will easily probably top 4,000 to 5,000 hours this year. Stop DWI you will see is way down, and that's because I've suspended DWI patrols a few months back. We're having trouble enough covering shifts that, which are the most important for us to do, is to respond to calls, so I canceled DWI. We will pick that up around the holidays after our people come back.
Move on to report 7, activity report. No red this time.
No red. Everything's going back up. You'll see our calls for service for mental health reports. Way up, way up.
Yeah, the 64 is 10 higher than we've ever had. 54 was March and April of this year. We had 52 or 54. 64 is by far the most we've ever had.
Our officers do a great job of dealing with these individuals. The problem is you take them for evaluation, and there's little that gets done, and they're back on the street. You'll see that even though our Narcan calls for service are about the same, the number of doses is significantly more. We can only account for that as we get there and we're using multiple doses to try to bring people back. And that's often after. We don't get called until they expend what they have.
Is there data kept on self-administered Narcan kept in the city?
No.
Further questions on report 7? Report 8, the SPCA report.
The only thing I will note in regards to the SPCA, and this is going to tie into August, there was a letter to the editor about the Cortland police not responding to a dog bite call. An individual said that we were uncaring, unresponsive. We looked into it. Cortland Police Department was never dispatched, never notified of this call. The SBCA was, and the fire department were, and both responded and had trouble finding the individual that reported. But once they did, they handled it, tickets were issued. The person didn't need any major treatment for his bite, but he was premature. We ended up, I sent Lieutenant Cute to find him and to discuss the matter. We have the 911 calls. We were never dispatched. It is true, we were busy, and 911 told them, the city police are busy, but I'll send somebody. But we were never dispatched, so. So the matter was handled, but his disappointment with us was misplaced.
Does it have something to do with the uniform the SPCA wears, or the impression that he was a police officer?
No. What people don't understand is when they call the police department, 99% of the time they're getting 911, because even our numbers roll over to them.
That's true.
So they just assume they're talking to the Cortland police. So that's where the confusion started, is he thought he was talking to us.
Was he okay once he realized the
Yeah.
explanation?
Yeah, I think he was a little embarrassed that, he'd written a letter to the editor and everything. And it's actually not factual. But we did take it very seriously and looked into it and said, why didn't we respond to this? But it was all handled by the appropriate agencies.
Any further discussion on the SPCA report? If not, move on to report 9, Detective Bureau.
What you find glaringly absent from this report for July is pistol permits. I don't know, people must have been on vacation or something.
I did notice that.
That's the first thing that stuck out to me, but,
I think that item number 1, the counterfeiting, that's the one where somebody was at a local drugstore and tried to pass it.
Yep.
They then went out on 281 and tried to do it again.
yep.
That's a good catch right there.
Of note is the one, which kind of strikes me, and it goes back to our Narcan, the overdose death of a 19-year-old male. And our officers had revived him on numerous occasions. It just shows that our, not the law enforcement system, but, the help for these individuals needs to be ramped up a little more so they can get into treatment. Individual that we got a report of gunshots out of the vehicle. That was nice work by the shift in grabbing that individual so quickly, and it turns out that his friend had actually grabbed his loaded pistol and shot it out the window, but we took proactive steps and sent documentation to the court to revoke his pistol permit. Any other questions on investigations?
Report is very thorough.
Those synopsis work, don't they?
Okay, we'll move on to, let's see, I don't have a report 10, it was 9, wasn't it?
There's nothing
It
on
was 9? Oh,
It's
is that a
the
workers' comp?
it. It's the injury, yeah.
All right. Go to report 11, officers' activity breakdown. And the revised one
For June.
Yeah,
is the good one?
yes. For June. It's the revised for June.
Okay, so this is June and then the other one's July.
Is that possible?
The way that this system is, in some places you have to put 1 0 and in other places it's 2. So I'll look at that again.
We're just
So we're
talking
looking
about
at July's.
June. Yeah.
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 We're looking at the comp time column.
Yep.
3
Yeah.
officers, all in 800s. Might just be a decimal point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sam, you didn't think we looked at the report.
Well, it's corrected for July.
A lot of the numbers are coming back up from where they were. Is the college back now? Are they moving in now?
This weekend.
This week?
They're doing staggered, so many each day.
I think the athletes are back.
Athletes have been back. Sports teams have been back for, I think, a couple of weeks practicing.
Yes, because we had some taking a selfie in front of the road construction sign in front of our house at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Before they stole it.
Yeah. They leave all the traffic
They
on?
actually didn't steal it, they took the cones, but they had a selfie in front of the sign, making an awful lot of noise.
We used to get a call from the college maintenance staff after the college left for summer. You want to go up and pick up your stuff? A few traffic cones.
Yeah, I don't know why they took a selfie in front of the sign, but at 2 o'clock in the morning, making an awful lot of noise. Wayne wasn't pleased. I thought it was fun.
Any further discussion on report 11? Good with that, or go to report 12, parking tickets? Which took a slide.
It's not our latest month, but they're significantly down.
It's the latest this year.
We only have one person, civilian, doing it, right?
Right.
Besides you.
Is there any discussion about hiring someone else to assist with parking tickets?
We've talked in the past, but the numbers are so minute that the one is doing a good job on Main
Yeah.
Street, but the problem is too, is you got, the college isn't here, so that reduces a number of the overnight parking issues that we have. And during the daytime, there's plenty of open parking downtown,
Yeah.
so. Well, where we would be better served is if we put an evening person to do it, but then again, now you're hitting the dinner time
Right.
when businesses are trying to regain a foothold, so are we doing our businesses and our citizens justice there? You know, because there is ample room in the parking lots around that time, you just gotta walk a little bit farther, so instead of putting somebody on nights where we would significantly increase our numbers of tickets, but it would be detrimental to the businesses, so we kind of err on the side of letting our businesses recoup some of their losses. We can obviously change that if the commission decides.
I was just wondering what the conversation was.
Let's look at the parking tickets. I'll go to report 14 is my next report. I don't have a 13.
No officer injuries.
Okay. That's
13 is bike patrol, and the only bike patrol out is community outreach. As I explained in the past, I was gonna create a outreach program. Our bike officers are all offered an opportunity to let us know when they can do like a 3-hour block. And they set it up through the lieutenant. When they come in, they get on the bike, and their job is community outreach on that bicycle. So we don't want them writing tickets, we don't want them, answering calls or anything. They're out there to meet and greet the public and to show them that we're out there, and it's had a lot of positive impact. People are happy to see the bike out there. So that's why there's no stats for the bike.
report 14, the arrest breakdown.
You'll see that the numbers are rising on the arrest. Now the V&T is obviously lower due to the suspension of the DWI program, dedicated detail. But you'll see that particularly in the misdemeanors, there's significant growth. Violations, felonies. We anticipate student arrests may go up once they return, but hopefully they all come back with the right mindset and behave.
That's the last report that I have. Have a motion to accept the reports. All right, we're going to move on to item number 2, old business. Police commission is number 1 on there, chief.
The new local law, there will be a public hearing at the next council meeting on the local law to increase the size of this commission from 3 to 5. I don't see anybody opposing it. The mayor has a couple names, so once the law is passed, hopefully he acts on it. This is part of the EO 203, as I mentioned before, to increase the oversight of the police department. So that is moving along as we speak.
Okay, the next item is grievances. Anything moved from what we discussed in the past?
No.
All right, move on to item number C.
Cap,
Yeah.
we thought we had the bugs worked out in this where our prisoners could go to the county to be held so we can free up a desk officer. It worked one weekend. The judge arraigned, the county had somebody on our warrant, on their warrants. We had warrants, so the cap person, we faxed them over and they arraigned them on everything. 2 weeks ago, the cap judge refused to arraign one of our persons that was being held, said we are not part of the agreement to be in cap. Back when cap was established, Chief Catalano didn't get involved in it. We held our own prisoners. Had the judge wanted to control her arraignment, so that is all changing. So now we have to have another cap meeting with all the vested players to get signed up before they will let us, before the cap judges will arraign our people. So it's another monkey wrench into the cogs. I don't know why it has to be this difficult, but
So it worked once,
yeah.
and then a judge said no.
The next judge said, no, you're not in the agreement. So we have to get in agreement. I don't think it's gonna be tough, it's just getting them to schedule this meeting with all the stakeholders.
And who has to schedule it?
Shapiro, put with the courts. Mark is pushing it, I am pushing it, so. And I did have fruitful conversation with city court judge about the times of the Monday through Friday arrangements, moving the Monday through Friday morning arraignment to like 8:30 instead of 10:30. So anybody that has to be here or anybody sitting in cap can get arraigned much quicker. And then the potential of an 11:30, if their court day is late and they have time at 11:30 because they already have a prosecutor, a defense, and a judge. So make a couple phone calls, and if anybody's sitting on a prisoner, they can get arraigned that much faster. And then I think 2:30 in the afternoon. The point being, if there's limited slots in cap for Mark to hold, Sheriff Helms to hold our people, the faster we can get people arraigned and out of his custody or our custody if we're sitting on them, the better it is for everybody. Even the defendant who, might be sitting there knowing they're going home, they're just not sitting there for an extended period of time. So that's fruitful. But as far as the cap, there's another, like I said, wrench in the works. So we're working on that.
Okay, move on to accreditation.
Accreditation is going very well. We had a command meeting last week. We're on target. No issues are seen. Things are working out. Our contractor came in and met with Sergeant Guerrero, reviewed what's going on. So Sergeant Guerrero assures us that we will be on time. So. Well, with the extension. We won't be ready for October, but with the extension we will.
Okay, next item is a recruitment civil service list.
On the 16th, we were notified by civil service that there was 12 applicants for this exam, which I almost fell over. I'm like, that is not good news. With 12 applicants, you can figure in there's going to be a certain percentage that aren't going to pass. Of those that do pass, there may be a certain percentage that won't pass the PT. And then when you finally get a list that is really pared down, how many are going to pass a background? So it was very dismal news. Lieutenant Cute, we had held 3 training sessions, 10 at the first one, 10 at the second one, signed up. The last one, nobody came to. So we knew there was at least 20 interested people. So he emailed each and every one of them and said, today is like the last day to sign up, which apparently worked. We ended up with 33 qualified candidates signing up. So that's nice. Still, unbelievably low compared to, previous years where, like 100 plus would sign up for the exam. But with the 33, when you factor in, people that pass, people that have trouble with it, hopefully the training sessions, we did will help more pass.
When's the exam?
15th, 18th,
No,
September
that's
18th.
Saturday.
September 18th.
And that deadline is now passed.
The deadline is now passed for anybody to sign up. So 33, I'm a little bit happier, a little bit more optimistic that, we'll at least have 20 to 30 on the list
And that's for city and county?
in Homer.
Mhm.
So 3 agencies have to utilize this list. Our to our advantage, thank you for, the county is only down 1 right now. So they will only be looking for 1 person. And they like laterals. So, because if you lateral into a sheriff's office, your time goes with you. If you lateral out of a sheriff's office, your time doesn't. So, it's easier for them to get a lateral. And I don't know how fast he's looking to fill that spot. So there's one. I think Homer's pretty much where they should be. So we won't have a lot of competition. So our goal is right now, we've got permission to hire for the 4 vacancies that are still there. We've got permission for them. We would always like to increase the size of the police department so we don't end up in our shortages. So that'll be a discussion with the council in the very near future. My hopes are that when this list comes out in late fall, we can get on it quickly, have approval for all of our vacancies, and we can hire, en masse. And then Broome typically does their academy in the spring. So line up all of our vacancies. It would be probably a big class for us, but I don't care. That doesn't scare me. Having people in academy is always a good feeling because there's light at the end of the tunnel for them coming back.
Already anticipated retirements coming.
Two anticipated in January. So that'll put us at 6 down. And I will get prior approval, we will try to get those individuals to commit in the fall that they're leaving so we can get council approval to hire, lift the freeze and hire. So when the list comes out, we know exactly how many people we can grab.
Okay, next item is the cops position.
We have a couple officers that have expressed interest in taking over a couple of the events, the Veterans Breakfast, Shop with a Cop. Jesse's staying involved with 9/11, which will be coming up. The 9/11 ceremony will be happening as it did last year. I just have to submit my COVID plan to the mayor for being over 50. We were going to expand that this year, but with the rise of COVID, we've backed off on those thoughts. Being the 20th year, we'll just continue with our normal program. But people are slowly picking up different events. We have, like I said, the community engagement where officers can go out, call out during their shift that they're engaging the community, do a little synopsis on what they did. We have the bike patrol out there doing community engagement. So we're trying to pick up the pace a little bit with everybody chipping in. But to fulfill that spot as a full-time, we'll have to return our numbers on the street back to where we can adequately staff shifts.
If you are able to adequately staff the shifts, do you have anyone interested in filling that position?
Well, I think once we're able to fulfill it, I think there are going to be a few people putting in for the spot, but which is giving us a little insight right now to who might be our best pick on who's stepping up without getting the spot, who's doing the extra work. So I don't think there will be any problem filling that spot.
Okay, any further questions on that? Move on to new business, the American Recovery One.
It's in.
Yeah, you got it yet?
It's in the account. We don't have any of it yet. The mayor had put out feelers a while back from department heads. What do you want? What do you need? Obviously, vehicles are at the top of our list. The mayor's had some fruitful discussion on that. I also expressed my belief on some sort of stipend for the officers, the emergency responders out there during COVID. Part of this is supposed to go to them. That our officers were out there throughout the pandemic, and they should be compensated for it. I don't know where that's going to go, and I don't know where the vehicles are going to set. I know a lot of the council is talking infrastructure, but I think police cars better serve our community than more schoolhouse. So we're hopeful. The fact that the mayor has reached out and talked numbers on cars, I'm hopeful that maybe we can kind of catch up to the lack that we've been getting over the past few years. Because we used to get 2, and for years we went to 1, and this year we've gotten 0 because of the cutoff.
There's some restrictions on that, right?
Yeah.
That I'll talk about.
Yep, there's restrictions, so, but that's for finance and the council to figure out on their end, but we gave them our list, and those are my 2 priorities, is vehicles and stipends for our people.
Okay, the next item is the officer Nat's retirement.
It's moving along, all the papers are in, and it's in the lawyer's hands, so he seems to be doing well, and he's happy with the progress that's being made, so.
Item number 4, other business, accommodation, appreciation, correspondence. Which we did receive some of their packet.
Yeah.
The bike auction worked out well.
Pardon?
The bike auction.
Yeah.
You took in on
That's nice.
To add to that, we had about 26 left over. There were various stages of disrepair. The professor, Kasim Coney from SUNY, that he routinely buys them over the years, and he takes them back to Africa, and they have people that fix them and distribute them. So I contacted him, and he came in and gave us an additional $150 for those, and that money was turned over to the veterans, Vietnam veterans as well. So, and their park is moving along very nicely. If you get a chance to stop over and see it.
Okay, any other discussion on what was received in your packet? If not, how about commissioner comments? Anything? Good. Liz, anything to bring up? Okay, the only thing I'll bring up is the chief had sent out an email to all of us with regards to Officer Drake. And I sent a email back to the chief about her performance and duties in a difficult situation. I know you all read this, you know what I'm talking about. But just from the police commission, I'm very proud of Officer Drake and her performance of duties in a difficult situation. As a junior officer, she took charge in an exceptional manner and showed a great deal of compassion to the victim and failing members. We wish her continued success as she moves forward in her career as an officer of the City of Cortland Police Department. That's really something for junior officer.
Yep, we've got good people. We don't accept everybody that applies, but you know, we take the best of the best, so, and they're working out very well.
Okay, I have a motion to adjourn.
I'll move.
Okay, second, all in favor? Aye. Got my gavel? We are done for the day.
Stay connected. Make sure you hit the subscribe button.